Oh,
Well, hey.
well, hey, everybody.
Well, hey.
We're still in over here, stunned at the last minute and 50 of this ball game.
Ooh.
Welcome into Guerilla Media Postgame Live. Chad Brown, Kristin Brown.
Hello.
Yes. This football game was just drunk, right?
Okay. Chad Brown. What did we just witness? What did we just witness?
We witnessed the Broncos score 33 fourth quarter points.
What?
We witnessed 3 lead changes in the last minute and 50 seconds.
What?
We witnessed the Broncos have 12 penalties, yet still find a way to win. We witnessed Sean Payton go on the field in the last minute and get an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Wait. And we won. Said maybe no one ever?
When you play like the Broncos play today, you typically do not find a way to win. Correct.
Oh, sorry to the Giants fans. Oh, my goodness.
No.
Well,
we don't apologize for wins.
We don't. So it's like sassy sorry, like sorry, not sorry kind of thing.
Okay.
But did Christmas come early in the Mile High City?
Yes, it did. It did. Yes.
They got gift after gift after gift after gift after gift. Very compressed.
Yes.
In the fourth quarter. I mean, we still got to talk about the whole game.
Yeah.
But I gotta.
Well,
the emotional roller coaster.
I don't even know if it's possible to address the game in summary without addressing 33 points in the fourth quarter.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Bo Nix, Sean Payton shut out. It seemed like that was going to be how this thing could possibly end.
Right.
And then they explode for 33 points in the fourth quarter. The Giants defense wears down physically and mentally. The Broncos are able to take advantage of that. Giants kicker misses 2 extra points, ends up being the difference in this ball game. Mm-hmm. So they get a little bit of lucky.
And our 3 points that we left out there did not end up being the difference. More Christmas.
Yes, of course, that was in the first quarter.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting going all over the place.
It's okay. It's okay. Kristin Brown's fired up. I love it.
Fired up.
All right. Well, okay. The Broncos win.
Yes.
They are able to snatch victory, give it away, yet then snatch it back. Bo Nix is pretty much awful for 3 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Turns into the best version of Bo Nix in the fourth quarter. Broncos defense, for the most part, the Giants had answers for them offensively, yet they get a couple of sacks late, able to end drives with Jackson Dart. It was all kind of in the nick of time today. It wasn't beautiful, just like last week against the Jets wasn't beautiful. But you'll take it, right?
I will take it. 100% I will take it. I still am having a hard time trying to find the words of what we just witnessed. Because to start off the game,
mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, defense is showing up. I'm feeling hopeful.
Okay.
I'm also feeling like confused
mm-hmm.
because why are we just throwing the ball?
Right.
And then at some point, I'm just frustrated.
Okay.
I'm ready to just have a drink and go for a run. But I'm committed.
In that order? Drink, then run?
I could do a lot of things, especially when I'm fired up. I have the best workouts ever, so I probably could do it all on a shot. But then we come back after halftime, and I'm like, what did we do at halftime? We've got frustration. I mean, the roller coaster. For anyone who's got heart issues, I mean, they probably didn't even know what they were getting into.
Right.
Hopefully they went and took a walk or something. Chad Brown, what did we just see?
Well, we saw some resiliency.
Oh, yes.
We saw some never give in, never quit kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the spark play
mm-hmm.
that then sparks the team.
Yes.
So that was fantastic as well. So there were a number of things that we witnessed that were bad for 3 quarters.
I think everything, not everything, but like a lot of football things were so bad. Okay.
But unlike previous Bronco games
mm-hmm.
where they couldn't find a way to finish,
yeah,
this time they couldn't find a way to get started. But once they got started, they found a way to finish.
Yes.
So this may be just this kind of season for the Broncos. So Sean Payton's talked about this team trying to learn how to win games. And so for them to do that in this fashion was important and critical,
yeah.
I think, for their confidence and belief going along. It was good. It was a good fourth quarter against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets never really threatened to score a touchdown
Mm-hmm.
in that game, so it was just a defensive fest, and Bo Nix and Sean Payton couldn't get it together offensively. But this one, a little bit of a different flavor, where all the roller coaster of emotions that you mentioned, it seemed like my Twitter timeline was going down those same emotional peaks and valleys that you went through.
Yes.
And then in the fourth quarter, things just caught fire.
Amazing. The most exciting last 2 minutes of a game I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it was some clutch football. Bo Nix been able to throw the ball against a Giants defense that didn't have any answers in the secondary, able to target the right guys. And then the Giants pass rush kind of lost its venom about halfway through the fourth quarter. So I'm trying to get some numbers here for Bo Nix. So he ends up 27 for 50.
Okay.
I don't think 50 throws for Bo Nix is the formula that we want to go to every week, but we'll take it. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, only sacked twice, decent passer rating. So again, it was a slow start, a bad start. Some of the play calling I thought limited Bo, but then when they had to have it, Bo had enough to get it done.
Yeah, I still believe in these Broncos. I still believe in Bo. I still believe that they have what it takes. So it's interesting because the play calling can affect the guy's numbers. It can affect Bo's numbers. It can affect what we see, but it can affect their rating. So that has me still having so much confidence in them going forward. And like you said, finding a way to win, such a big deal. And what's interesting too is if we saw Kansas City do the same thing, people would be like, Kansas City's going to win. They're going to find a way. He's a wizard. And I don't even think the bad things would really be mentioned because they have that wizard in them. I'm not sure what our identity is or what it's going to be. But just finding a way to win. We'll need that going forward to get into the postseason, right? I mean,
yes, we will. You'll play close games. You'll play games where you don't play your best, and you've got to find a way to pull it out in the last couple of minutes. And that takes some confidence. It takes some swagger. It takes some belief.
Yep.
So all those were developed today. You just mentioned the word identity.
Yes.
And a bad part, unfortunately, I know the Broncos won.
Yes.
This camera over here. I know the Broncos won. And I know there's good things to talk about, particularly from the fourth quarter standpoint. But the reoccurring identity of the Broncos at this point, because everything else is up and down. You don't know what's going to show week in and week out, but you can bet your bottom dollar the Broncos are going to have a lot of penalties. So 12 penalties today, 127 yards penalized. So there's a undisciplined nature to this football team where they, particularly on offense, they kill drives with penalties. And on defense, they extend their opponent's drive with penalties. This game didn't need to be as close as it was. They gave the Giants far more opportunities and chances than the Giants deserved. And the Giants were able to take advantage of a number of those. If they had been able to take advantage of all of them, the Giants would have won this ball game.
Absolutely.
So, yes, I mean, the Broncos should feel good about the win. They should feel good about the fourth quarter. But they've also got to take a critical look at the first 3 quarters and, most importantly, this penalty thing. Because if you're going to be able to go deep into the postseason and use these close wins as building blocks for a playoff run, you got to clean that shit up, man.
You do. There's no way you're going to be sitting here talking about Bronco victories with, what was it, 12 penalties?
12 penalties.
That's not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Coaches on the field, that's not going to be a thing. That is not, we know that's not sustainable. So when I said Christmas came early, he's not going to come again. Like, right? Christmas came early. We just going to have Christmas every week.
You can't do it. Right.
It's not going to happen. So I tell you what, like, a lot has to be cleaned up. I'm so thrilled they won Bronco country. I'm so happy. You know I am. But I tell you, there's so much to clean up. So, like, go for it. Because we got to get through, like, that first quarter. I thought the defense did well. But let's talk about the offense. What was happening? Do you think it was play calling? Do you think it was just not coming together? I mean, things weren't syncing up. We got the new guard in.
I thought he wasn't targeted like the guard last week was. Yeah. So Matt Pert played last week. I think he tore an MCL, fought through and played the whole game. So kudos to his courageousness and his toughness. But he was an issue last week. I don't think we mentioned the backup guard, the third string guard, very often today. So that's good.
Yeah.
But the offensive play calling, some of the execution, there was drop passes, a number of those. There were a lot of missed blocks, particularly on those short routes. There were multiple times where there were 3 Bronco blockers out there, and none of those 3 guys got a block.
Okay.
And they allowed the Giants to make a tackle and limit the receiver to a short gain. So there were some issues out there, certainly.
Yeah.
And the play call on 4th down when the Broncos went for it, that may be one of the bigger head scratchers for me, because again, we think of Sean Payton as this great play caller.
Yeah.
To not understand that situation on the field, to not understand what the defense is thinking and how the defense is coached to think in those situations.
Okay, break that down for us. We're watching this. We're like, oh, he's going for it on 4th. That's so cool. He's aggressive. That's exciting. Break that down. How come that one was not ideal? That's not the time, or that's not exciting.
Okay.
Help me understand.
All right. So when you run those short passes, ideally you do that in the field of play, because the defensive backs are going to be further away from your receivers. So it makes it an easy opportunity for your quarterback just to turn and throw it. Receiver catches it. Maybe he picks up a block or 2, and you get maybe 3 or 4 yards, maybe 5, before a defender can actually come up and make a tackle. Or if you get those blocks, it can turn into a 20, 30-yard play. And Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace, Broncos honored him today.
Yes,
he was the master of turning those little bubble screens into big plays. He was tremendous at that.
He was.
So there's something to be said for the opportunity that play presents. But when you run it down there at the goal line, the field is compressed. The defense isn't 10 yards back.
Okay.
They're all up trying to defend the goal line.
Okay.
Because if you get the ball crosses the goal line, it's a touchdown. So as a defender, you're taught to kind of keep your heels at the goal line, so to make sure that you don't accidentally back into the end zone and let them catch a pass in front of you, and it's a touchdown. So because the field's compressed, because the defenders are so close to the line of scrimmage, that play doesn't have the opportunity to work. So for him to go for that on 4th down, that's another one of those, what we're seeing now, 3 to 5 plays a game from a play calling perspective. We're going, Sean Payton, what was that, man?
What was that? What is you doing?
What is you doing? But then in the 4th quarter, we were able to take advantage of it. And so it's like, well, then, yeah, what are you doing now? You're calling the right plays, and we're moving the ball down the field when we need it most.
So that's good. Still in there.
So you get both. You get both. You get both with Sean Payton, and we talked about that on the last show as well.
Okay, so back to that bubble play where it's a compressed field. So my mind goes straight to geometry, right? Like angles, because I remember the straightest path is A to B, right? So if he tosses the ball to the side, short compressed field, there's just not enough time. Is that what you're saying? Because now you've got to angle and try to run, and it's just, that's a lot to happen in a little tight window.
The defenders, again, they're so close to the line of scrimmage.
It's not spread out.
They're not 5 yards off giving that receiver a cushion. We can't give away a cushion, because if you get a pass for 2 yards, you're going to be in the end zone. We're going to be at the line of scrimmage, or again, with our heels on the goal line, trying to stop you from getting into the goal line. So another one of those plays where I'm just like, Sean, you're not understanding what Vance Joseph is teaching his guys in the same building every single week.
Okay.
Because if Sean and VJ were to talk, VJ would say, yeah, man, we're going to be at the line of scrimmage. We're going to be trying to defend any short pass.
That's such a great resource. I don't know. I don't think I actually had thought about that. But you have got, what's our defense, number 2?
I believe so. Number 1 in sacks. I know that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that is like a gym to learn from. I'm not sure. Of course, I'm not in there. I don't know what they're talking about. But that is a gym to, hey, Vance, what are you thinking?
Right.
Not thinking that. I'm not thinking that. And he's not going to ask me or you, but I'm thinking you go for the points every time.
Right.
Put 3 up. You got nothing, put 3 up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this game would not have been such a nail biter if they would have gone for the field goal there, gotten the 3 points. So yeah, another, not only play call error, because the play didn't fit the situation on the field, but the choice to go for it on 4th and not take the points.
Right. I just go back to what, like 3 weeks ago, we didn't go for it on 4th when we should have. And then we go for it on 4th when we shouldn't. So that kind of thing. That's what you're talking about, where you get a little bit of both. Okay.
I'm seeing on the text line there, 4DT. Yep. Obviously the Super Bowl 50 reunion for those guys to come back. All those guys celebrated, Peyton Manning and DeMarcus Ware and all those guys having that celebration. We were just out in Seattle having a top 50 player celebration, not a Super Bowl celebration. So a little bit more of a individual / personal honor, not quite the team honor that these guys had out there today. And then taking that opportunity for those guys to kind of come together and celebrate the life and career of Demaryius Thomas. So great to get the win on a day like that.
Oh yeah, his parents were there. And it's so fun to see Bronco country like loud and excited. It's a gorgeous day in the Mile High City. And so I thought for sure that would be something that would have the fans and everyone just more excited. And like the team wants to win it for him even, in honor of his memory and how much he meant to Bronco country. And then, of course, people all around who loved him so much. Yeah, that was exciting that we got that victory for them. I almost had forgotten about that. The game seemed like so many different games.
It was about 4 different games out there, and definitely to steal your phrase, a roller coaster of emotions.
Yes.
And I guess that also fits in with the Demaryius Thomas remembrance and the Super Bowl 50 celebration, because you're on one hand you the ceremonies out there, and to see Demaryius Thomas's mom put her hands on the statue, that was very touching, and a little tear came to my eye.
Yeah.
But then they celebrate Super Bowl 50. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this game starts off so poorly for the Broncos. Don't score a single point until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then they put up 33 in the fourth quarter.
33. Okay. So the passing game was so different from the first quarter to the third quarter. Well, why did we start off passing? Talk to me about that. Like, is that what we should expect? I thought we were going to focus. Oh my goodness. I thought the team was going to focus on their run game in order to get the throwing game.
So to start the game with 3 consecutive passes in the first series didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. When you've had some success in the last couple of weeks running the football, you've talked about how you want to make that a bigger part of what you do. Now in the end, we ran for 125 or 145 yards as a team. Let's see here.
Well, Bo had what, 58?
So Bo Nix was your second leading rusher again today, which has also got to be a little concerning. So the Broncos had 142 yards rushing today as a team, but to start the game with 3 consecutive passes, defenses love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm married to a defensive player. I know that.
Yeah.
I love that when I'm not rooting for them.
You're going to let me kind of gently warm up into the game.
Right.
You're not going to run the ball down my throat. I'm not going to have to start off hard and physical for this game.
Yeah.
You're going to let me kind of just softly come into it.
Yeah.
Again, I think Sean Payton sometimes is so focused on some of the play calling and the offensive mindset that he doesn't understand what some of these things mean and do to a defense. And so as a play caller, I know you want to stack up plays, and I know you want to get your offense rolling, but what things do to a defense, the effect they have, I don't think should ever be lost to you as a play caller. So whether we're talking about the 4th down called near the goal line, or we're talking about starting the game with 3 consecutive pass plays, you're not affecting the defense. You're not playing that chess match with the defense mentally.
Yeah. And then I think, okay, we've got the altitude on our side,
which I think showed up in the fourth quarter.
Right. Finally.
Yes.
It's like, why aren't we using this as leverage the entire time? So Seahawks, 12th man. I felt like altitude, 12th man. Use it.
Which is, when we were driving into the studio, we heard Dave Logan say he thought the Broncos would go with more up-tempo. And that's what he's talking about, to try to take advantage of the altitude, to wear down the Giants defense. And in the end, they were able to, just based on that fourth quarter alone, because that fourth quarter was drunk and high and everything else was crazy bananas.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have seen that more often in the course of this ballgame. Maybe you would have scored some points before the fourth quarter.
Okay, so I was surprised that we didn't see more plays designed for Bo to run. He seems to have success when it's designed.
Well, that was maybe one of the biggest plays of the game.
Yeah.
Just to in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, with that design run for Bo. So Bo's a more than capable ball carrier.
Yeah.
He's not a frail quarterback. He can take a hit. He practices good ball security when he's running with the football. I see no reason to not include him in that. And again, it puts additional pressure on the defense.
Yeah.
With the pass rush that the Giants came into this game with, Brian Burns ended up with 2 sacks.
Yes.
But
Good player.
Abdul Carter is a very good player. Kayvon Thibodeau, I don't know if he got a sack, but he got a holding call from Garrett Bowles.
Mhm.
So he was able to affect the Broncos offense. When you've got a team with a number of pass rushers, a quarterback design runs gets those guys off balance. Oh, I can't just pin my ears back and go for the quarterback and try to sack him in the pocket. What if it's a planned run? I've got to have pass rush lane discipline. I can't
Mhm.
take a chance on this offensive tackle and beat him inside because it could be a design run on the outside.
Mm.
So you put pressure on those guys and you make them think of more than they would like to think. We just want to pin our ears back and get after the quarterback. But is it a planned run? Is it not going to be? That's when you start slowing that defense down mentally.
Mhm.
So again, Sean Payton, think about the defense when you're doing these play calls. Think about the
Yeah.
effect you have on the defense.
Do you know where they're ranked, the Giants defense?
I think they're middle of the pack.
Okay. Okay.
Again, that pass rush unit
Yeah.
over the last couple of games where the Giants have had some success
Yeah.
since they started Jackson Dart and since Cam Scatterboo has been starting.
Mhm.
That pass rush unit has come along as well.
Okay.
So I don't think they're a top 5 or top 10 defense,
Mhm.
but I know they've been playing well lately.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So now that we're talking about defense, let's talk about Vance Joseph's defense.
Okay.
Because I had questions during the game about what happened. Because when they came out, I saw this very strong defense that I expected to see. And then I got a little confused, like, oh no, what's happening? Are they on to us? Like, things are just getting completed. We're getting beat. There was something with man coverage, zone coverage. There were just things happening. And I was wondering, what is it? And then, of course, you were talking about those receivers who there's 3 there and nothing's happening.
Right.
What do you think was going on there?
Okay. All right. Bro, a couple things.
Okay.
All right. So
Take your time.
we saw the aggressiveness of the Broncos defense be
Mhm.
used against them.
Okay.
So Hufanga missing a coverage,
Mhm.
seeing a giant receiver cross in front of his face, goes up to attack that thing. That's where the ball is going to be thrown.
Okay.
The Giants end up throwing the ball over his head.
Right. The guy was uncovered. No one saw him.
Right.
Okay.
We saw a run play
Mhm.
where Hufanga comes up very aggressive in run support. It comes up wide, does not able to shut that hole down. Jackson Dart is able to run into the end zone because
Mhm.
Hufanga's out of position. So
Okay.
some of that aggressiveness, as a defender, you want to be aggressive, but there's still
Right.
got to be it feels like it's an oxymoron putting these words together. They don't go together, but cautiously aggressive.
Smart, aggressive, right?
Have your antenna
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Have your eyes open.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, there's such an aggressive nature to this defense, and they should be confident. They're a very
Mhm.
good defense.
Yeah.
But now you have to realize people are going to try to use your aggressiveness against you.
Right.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So, like in martial arts, judo is not an aggressive martial art. It's taking someone's momentum and using it to throw them on the ground.
Mhm.
And that was
Mhm.
kind of what the Giants did to the Broncos defense. Oh, you want to be aggressive? We'll give you enough things so you think you can be aggressive against, and we've got something else planned. So that showed up a couple of times. And then there was some miscommunication more than just the Hufanga jumping on the short route and leaving the deep route free. We saw a couple of times where it looked like some guys were playing man in the secondary for the Broncos, and other
Yeah.
guys were playing zone. So that was interesting.
That's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
Okay.
If you're in zone, you're in zone. If
Yeah.
you're in man, you're in man.
Okay.
Now there is such a thing as match zone, where if a guy comes into my zone, then I match up next to him. So it kind of
Okay.
can feel like man, but once you start running away from me, then I pass you off to Kristin. And
Okay.
she matches you up.
Okay.
I don't match you all the way across the field.
Okay.
I still, when you're in my zone, you're my person. And you leave my zone, I pass you off to someone else. So
Okay.
there seemed to be some confusion on either that passing off part, or are we in man or are we in zone? Because sometimes you can do a defense where on one side it's man and the other side it's zone.
Oh.
That's how you start to fool young quarterbacks. Jackson Dart being a rookie,
Okay.
I could see VJ going to that.
Nice.
But within that confusion, sometimes the call from the safety, we can go from man on the left side and zone on the right, and suddenly the offense does a shift or a change, and now it's man on the right side and zone on the left. And that needs to be communicated to everybody. So in attempts to confuse a rookie quarterback, you can end up having somebody come back to the huddle and say, I didn't hear the call, dog.
Oh.
You got to talk louder, man.
Oh. Dog, hear the call, dog. Dogs hear the call, hear the call. Okay, wow, that's so interesting. So the other thing I was wondering about too is, okay,
Cam Scataboo.
Scataboo.
Yeah,
I might just call him Boo. Hey, Boo.
You're my boo?
Yes.
Yes.
Scataboo.
Scataboo.
So Scataboo, he's impressive. So I saw a lot of cheetah tackles, what you were talking about going on. And I thought that was genius, because of how Scataboo goes into these attempts of tackling. So I think Vance must have studied that. Maybe he talked to the guy, said, go low. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so Scataboo ended up with 16 carries for 60 yards, a 3.8 yard average, a long of 18.
Which is way less than what we saw last week? Yeah.
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 So when you've got a back like Scataboo who is seeking contact, he's seeking contact not because he loves to beat himself up, but because he wants to use that contact as a way to get away. He's not Barry Sanders, where he can make you miss and run away from you and all that stuff. So his way is to bring the contact to you and then use his momentum to spin off or push off or whatever. So how you deal with a back who's a contact runner, just go for his legs.
Go for his legs.
Don't play into his game and try to tackle him up top, because he wants to bounce off of you and spin off of you and all that stuff. And we saw him have some success on that. But the best tackles for the Broncos is when they did the cheetah tackle.
Get low.
Get low,
get low, get
low,
low,
get
low.
And for those who don't know what a cheetah tackle is, if you're watching the animal nature videos, like the lions will jump on a wildebeest's back, and they've got their gang tackling. It's a lot of lions. Cheetah's one cheetah. Sometimes there's two, but usually it's one cheetah, and they're chasing the gazelle or chasing the antelope, and they're running, and the cheetahs are small cats, relatively for a wildcat, and they just reach out and slap the antelope's feet.
Nice.
And the antelope goes
it.
down.
Yeah.
So the cheetah keeps himself safe. He gets to the feet. So that's where that phrase comes from, the cheetah tackle.
Clearly, if I could play the game, that would be my strategy.
You would be a cheetah tackler?
Going low every single time.
Him up top.
Every single time.
Okay.
Okay, so Vance, I don't know if they figured out, Vance talked about that, watching him bounce off of people, using it for leverage, all the things. They're tackling low. So that's when you go, okay, this is what that guy does. How are we going to stop it? And you make a plan. We love that. So clearly they said, how many sacks did we get last week? Was it like 9?
9 last week.
They said Broncos got 9 sacks last week. They're not getting that today. And we didn't. 4 sacks this week. Yeah. So, and 4 is still great.
Right.
I'm not like poo-pooing the 4 sacks. That's flipping fantastic.
It really is.
But they knew we have a rush defense. So do you think we have a good balance when it comes to our rushing, our dropping? Because like 99, I'm forgetting his name right now.
Zach Allen.
Yeah, that almost cost us. I mean, it cost us, but in the end, it didn't cost us because he just gotten that sack. He was kissing it up. He was so excited. I was excited too. I was like, hey. But then he went for the next one and it was too late. He was roughing the passer.
Right.
So I feel like there could be this too much, I need a sack number sometimes. And that feels concerning because then that's just more penalties.
From a coaching perspective, I think you would rather tell your guys to be a little less aggressive than to go and ask for more aggression. So then it becomes, well, how do we channel that? How do we keep our aggression smart? How do we ensure that we punish quarterbacks but don't get penalized? And there's a very fine line there. The NFL obviously has a very vested interest in these quarterbacks being available week in and week out. And I don't think a memo comes out from the league office saying, hey, this is the New York Giants quarterback, the biggest media market in our country, who's kind of the darling of NFL football right now. We want to keep him extra safe. But I think some of that can't help but penetrate into the officiating of a game.
Oh,
yes.
Dart.
It's Jackson Dart.
He's darling.
Yes. And he's cool. And he's got the swagger. And he's got the chain. He's got the turtleneck. And
he's got little moves in the end zone.
The red spat tape on his cleats. He's got a lot going on.
Yeah, he does.
So,
he's got darling parents.
Yes.
Gave his dad the ball. All America's falling in love.
Yes.
Right. Not us.
No.
Because we're both leaving. We're not falling in love. But yeah. Okay.
So there's that fine line you have to get your defense to understand.
Know your audience, as in the refs, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And know that you're playing against America's sweetheart right now.
Yes. Now, I know whenever I talk about my time with the Patriots here locally in Denver, I get a lot of eye rolls and people get disgusted with it.
Oh, people,
But
come on.
Bill Belichick would make it a point to talk about the officiating crew every single week. We got a handout on the officiating crew. These guys call lots of pass interference. These guys call lots of offensive holding. These guys call lots of hits on quarterbacks because each crew has a thing.
Okay.
So there's just as there's tendencies for football teams, there's tendencies for officiating crews. So that handout that we got late in the week, it was important so you could know how to play the game. Because you're playing defensive back and these guys never call pass interference.
Yeah.
Well, great. I can be as handsy as I want to be with these receivers and I cannot get called. Or these guys call it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, then I got to find a way to cover with my feet and not use my hands and grab as much.
Okay.
So, yes, part of that is the ever-changing officiating crews. A lot of times you may not see the same crew for 6 or 8 weeks. So that handout becomes important so you can know how to play the game. So to your previous point before we got down this deep rabbit hole.
Oh, I love it.
If you want to be aggressive defense, you want to get after the quarterback, you've got to be aware of these kind of things. And again, you have to also be aware that teams are going to try to use your aggressiveness against you.
Okay, so then that would be wise defense, how you were talking, or wise aggression, having that knowledge about the referees.
Yes. Well, also to understand that the opponent's going to try to take advantage of your aggressiveness, but also how is this game going to be officiated? Who's the quarterback on the other side? When Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady were at their peak, come on. If they got hit, chances are a flag was coming out.
Absolutely.
So you have to play the game with that understanding. Different than baseball. Hey, this umpire calls strikes low. Okay, I got to swing at low pitches. You got to just know how this is going to go. And so for this Broncos defense to start incorporating that into their game plan and their prep during the week, it's going to pay some dividends.
Wow.
All right, what do we got? Chad, you think that the D was exhausted for how long they were on the field today? Definitely seemed like they were out there forever. Going to be a tough task when your offense can't stay on the field. Okay, time of possession is critical. Time of possession is an absolutely critical stat. And so I've got the overall time of possession here. Unfortunately, I don't have it for the first 3 quarters. And so while it's roughly even, 30 minutes and 11 seconds for the Giants, 29 minutes and 49 seconds for the Broncos, I'd imagine for the first 3 quarters, it was not as even as that. And so to, who was that? Trevor, to Trevor's point there, Trevor Potter, thanks for sending in the comment there off of Facebook. So yes, hit us up on YouTube, hit us up on Facebook, or hit us up on X, I believe, and send your comments in. We'd love to be able to answer as many questions as we possibly can for you guys today. Yes, absolutely, the defense got gassed. That's why another reason why starting the game with 3 consecutive pass plays, I didn't love.
Right, it's too quick. It's
too quick. And so as a defense, you'd love to get to the sideline, take your helmet off, grab a water, grab a Gatorade, and at least have the opportunity to have a conversation with your coach.
Yeah.
But if you sit down, and as soon as you sit down, it's already 3rd down because there's been 2 incompletions and you could have to go on the field. Only 45 seconds of clock time could have gone by.
Wow.
So it may be 2 or 3 minutes in real life, but you've barely sat down, had a chance to get a rest, much less have a conversation about what our opponent's doing to us.
Right.
So that time of possession stat, it's a great stat, but it also indicates that your defense, to Trevor's point, is getting worn out. And besides the physical exhaustion of being worn out, there's the mental fog of we haven't had a chance to make many adjustments. We haven't had a chance to talk about what they're doing. So if between a linebacker and a safety, if they're running certain combination routes, okay, you're going to take the outside guy. I'm going to take the inside guy. We've seen that now 3 or 4 times.
Right.
We got to get this down.
Right.
So when I tap my hip, that means I'm taking the inside guy. That's the conversation you can have on the sideline when the offense is possessing the ball. But as soon as you sit down, oh shit, we got to get back up. You can't have that conversation.
It's interesting you say hip tap because I saw that in the 4th quarter. And that is because they had more time.
It's interesting how these things all start to play together for your benefit. And so that's why when I talk about some of this play calling with Sean Payton, it's not just we got to run the ball.
Right.
We've got to understand what this time on the sideline does for our defense.
Right.
So yes, offensively, we should run the ball to force their defense to respect the run and pass. But we got to honor our defense by giving them a little bit of time on the sidelines so they can talk and figure some shit out.
Amen on that, Chad Brown. So good. Figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got any other comments up there? Let's see what else we got. Okay. From Scott, will Peyton eventually kill the team in the playoffs with his inept play calling? He honestly seems to have no clue. In the fourth quarter, I would say he had a clue. But for 3 quarters, he didn't seem to have a clue. And so whether we're talking about the starts of the game, too many pass attempts, whether we're talking about the 4th down attempt at the goal line, there's lots of other plays we can point to. But once things became desperate, he called up the right desperation play. So I'm not sure if he's being conservative because he wants to be a conservative play caller. It made sense last week in that game overseas against the Jets. But today, there was an opportunity against this Giants defense. I know you had to deal with the pass rush, but there were guys in their secondary who clearly weren't up to par. You were able to take advantage of them in the 4th quarter. Those same guys were out there in the first 3 quarters of the game. So I'm not sure, Scott, what exactly Sean Payton's hoping to accomplish there. And thanks to you for the shout out. Respect to Chad Brown. I'll say some respect to you, Kristin Brown,
well,
as well.
thank you. Thank you.
It's a team.
It's a team. It's a team.
Brown posse.
Mean team.
Yes.
So, to go back to the Sean Payton question, with the 3 and outs in the short field position, or the shorter field for the Giants. I mean, again, that's just more fast for the defense. And I would imagine he's got to see that. So then I'm thinking, okay, does he just not trust something? Or is this literally his best call? Like, he would call something and be like, that's what you came up with? Or is it because I don't trust this person, I don't trust this, I don't trust that? What are we not trusting here? I mean, I don't know.
Well, last week with the Matt Pert situation, it was clear from the number of holding calls, the number of times Matt Pert was beat, that Sean decided to go conservative because he didn't want to do some harm, to call a deep pass attempt. Bo Nix gets sacked. The Jets cause a fumble. They pick it up and score. That was clear last week.
Yeah.
But that was last week.
Yeah.
And this is this week. You seem to have come to a solution for that left guard spot. And so I can understand being a little conservative, not wanting to put that guy on an island all the time. But there was certainly plenty of opportunities for you to, as a play caller, you can choose to ramp it up and ramp it down. You can say, we're going to be aggressive this series and try to go after certain players in that defense. And then the next series, hey, we're going to be a little bit more conservative, slow the tempo down, run the ball so we can give our defense a rest. You don't have to go with one game plan the entire game. You can vary it up and change it. You can change tempo. So some of this Sean Payton that we've seen in these last couple of weeks, I'd love to see more consistency because there's moments, 4th quarter of this game, was good play calling. 4th quarter against the Eagles, good play calling. But where was that in the first 3 quarters of both those games? So I can understand where people like Scott are coming from. And if you're going to make a deep playoff run, like I'm assuming, Scott, you're a Bronco fan, you want them to do, the ineptness of the play calling for 3 quarters of the game is not going to get it done. Right.
Very good.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, we got Dominic. No, let's go with Amani Fife.
Oh, Monty Fife's got a question.
So, this is like a whole Brown family affair here because Amani is our daughter.
She is. I have a big old crush on her.
So thanks for tuning in, Amani. If you're Sean Payton, what is your message to the team today? Are you mostly celebrating? Are you more upset about the 3-quarter shutout? Okay.
Wow. Good one.
Good question, Amani. I appreciate the tune in and the comments.
Hey, mama loves.
Yes, you are never not happy about a win. Never. In the NFL, wins are so hard to come by. So you're happy every single time. This is not high school where my coach made us do conditioning after a 45-0 win because we weren't serious enough out there.
But you won every game, though. So.
We won 32 in a row. We
Something
were really
to know.
But because we were so good, he recognized even though we won 45-0, that we were not as tuned in as we needed to be against some more quality opponents that would come later in the
Keeping
season.
y'all humble. I like it.
Yes, but,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
high school stuff. That's what
Okay.
you do in high school. And I
Yeah.
know there was an a college team a couple of weeks back, Syracuse, who made his guys condition right after the game was over on the field in front of the fans. But that's not what you do in the NFL. You celebrate the win, and then you get critical during the week. After the game, you tell the guys, go home, enjoy it. We got 24 hours to get, our happy feels going. And then we show up tomorrow.
Yeah.
We got to get so much stuff fixed.
Yeah.
We've got to address a bunch of stuff. And then as a coach, I don't think you really ever should talk down to the team. You need to include yourself in that. And Sean Payton certainly would have to have some thought about some of those play calls and how they weren't situationally correct.
Yes.
And so, hey, I'm going to go home and look the man in the mirror. I suggest you guys all do the same. We've got some things I've got to fix. I'm including myself in that. I've got to be smarter with my play calls. And we've got to execute better. We have way too many drop passes. We've missed too many blocks. You can go down that road, but you still find a way to celebrate the win. So that's how you handle that, Amani.
Yeah, and we got to clean up the penalties. I mean, come on.
Yes, we started the show with that. Yes,
we did. And then, I also wondered about, of course, Amani makes me think of Happy Feet.
Okay.
So I saw less of that, of course, in the fourth quarter. Do you think there was a talk that happened? His feet, talking about Bo, of course, his feet got settled, and he had better passes. Because Happy Feet, okay, my daughter loves penguins.
Okay.
It was a great movie. It's a great movie, but not good for football.
Yeah, Happy Feet was great for us on a Florida vacation where it rained the whole week and we had to do something with the kids. That was fantastic.
Totally.
But for your quarterback to have Happy Feet, to not settle his feet.
Yeah.
This has been an issue for Bo his entire time here.
Yeah.
And this season, it's continuing to show up.
Yeah.
But in the fourth quarter, Bo was better. So for some reason, he seems to be better in clutch situations. So I'm not sure if it's because he's no longer overthinking. He's just dialed into the play.
Okay.
But the Happy Feet was a factor in the deep balls in particular. So he got the 32-yarder to Cortland Sutton, but there were 4 or 5 misses.
Yeah.
And it's hard to throw a ball 10 yards for most human beings outside of Patrick Mahomes without having your feet underneath you.
Right.
So imagine now trying to throw a ball 40 or 50 yards, how inaccurate you're going to be over that kind of distance if your feet aren't set. I mean, if we're going to go to the moon, if we're like a couple of centimeters off down here on Earth, by the time you get up to the moon, you're like, 100 miles or 200 miles off.
Right.
So the same thing with a short pass versus a 40 or 50-yard pass.
Right.
If your feet aren't set, your trajectory is not going to be accurate when you're throwing the ball that far. And that showed up again in the first 3 quarters of this game.
Okay, so I remember last week I was talking to you about, do coaches ever have their players come to the coach, maybe their position coach, whatever, with a list of what they know they did wrong? I'd rather have this back. I shouldn't have done this, took my eyes off my luggage, what have you. Because when I see these things get repeated, I'm like, is no one talking about it? Do they not know? Is it like George Costanza? Like, is that wrong? Is that frowned upon? Am I not supposed to do that? I'm confused. And you'd mentioned there was a coach who does that. I'm just thinking, how can we get a little message over and say, what's happening with the accountability?
Okay. I love this one. I'm going to deal with it from a multiple step thought process here.
Okay.
All right. So when we talk about learning, there's these steps to learning. So when you're first learning something and you do something wrong, you don't even know that you've done it wrong.
Right.
You have such little knowledge about this thing that you make a mistake and you didn't even know that it was a mistake.
Right.
And then the next level is, I know I made a mistake, but I'm not even sure what the mistake was, but I sensed something was off. And then the next level is, I know. I figured out what I was doing wrong.
My bad.
And you may not know how to fix it, but I know I did something wrong there. Then the next layer of learning is, you're prepared when this situation comes up that I'm only going to be able to identify I made a mistake in the past, but I'm not going to repeat that mistake. And I know how to prevent that mistake. And of course, the last level of learning is when you can teach someone else all those skills that are involved in that. So there's that aspect to it. So when you're making a mistake as a football player early on in the season, you may walk into the film room on Monday and you may think, oh, yeah, I can think about 3 or 4 plays where I made a mistake. And as you're watching film, the coach is showing you clips. You're like, oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know I was supposed to be 15 yards deep on that. Last year when we did that, I was supposed to be at 10 yards. And the coach is like, we went over this 5 times this week. Like,
right.
We did go over that.
Right.
So that's that where you're not even connected to the mistake.
Yeah. And that's what I'm wondering about, this chronic penalty thing. It's chronic.
Well, false starts. Okay, well, I'll still more on the mistake thing.
Okay.
All right, so the coach you're talking about, that was Dan Lanning, coach at Oregon.
Okay.
One of the best football teams in the country.
Oh, the Ducks.
The Oregon Ducks.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So he has his guys write their position coaches after the game, all their mistakes, and they all turn them in to the position coach. And then the position coach goes over those. And then when they watch film the next day, he's got those notes as well as his notes. So he's able to compare of basically how well am I teaching you things and how well are you retaining things where you made a mistake. And then I get a chance to watch film and we're all on the same page here.
Nice.
Kind of thing. Because no one's ever played a perfect football game.
Right.
And that's a ridiculous expectation.
Right.
But we obviously want to reduce the amount of mistakes possible. So the more in-depth our learning is, then we can prevent that. But that's one aspect. The other aspect is kind of an undisciplined nature.
Right.
And so pre-snap penalties.
Yeah.
Penalties that occur during a play. You're an offensive lineman and you happen to hold somebody. I'm just trying to get my job done and I grabbed a little too much. I grab every play. That one I got exposed.
Okay.
Or, I'm a cornerback and I get hit for pass interference. I lost track of the ball and I just ran into the guy. That happens.
Okay.
But pre-snap penalties, the play's not happening.
Right. What are you doing?
Are you dialed in? Are you looking at the ball as a pass rusher? I'm talking about you, Nick Benito. I'm talking about you, Jonathan Cooper, because we saw that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the penalties, there's a certain discipline nature to some of these things. There's a certain understanding of who the referees are, as we talked about earlier. There's a certain understanding. We're an aggressive football team. We're going to be around the quarterback a lot. That means we got to be careful because the more times you are around the quarterback, the more likely you are to get a penalty. So know that guy is going to be protected. So you have to have these things discussed during the week. They need to be in your mind on game day. Yes, because this Broncos defense is aggressive, because they get around the quarterback, chances are they're going to be one of the most penalized teams for rushing the quarterback just because they get near him so often. So therefore you have to be even more careful because you're going to extend opponents' drives and things like that. So I've never met an NFL coach, to answer your question, that I answered in a very long fashion.
Oh, it was so good though. I like all the details. The details, so good.
I've never met an NFL coach who asked you to submit a written dossier of your mistakes. But coaches will ask you the question in the meeting. They'll be looking at the film, and we're all looking at the film. He's got his red pointer laser, and he's circling you on the screen up there, and he'll ask you that question that every player hates. What are you doing here, man?
What is you doing?
What are you doing here,
man?
What are you doing? And you know what I was doing. I'm screwing up, coach. You know exactly what I'm doing. You know the answer to this, man.
It's important to say it out loud, I think, though.
But that's their thing, is to get you to admit that I didn't know what I was doing. I was wrong here. And now you need to say it in front of the whole group. We're all watching this together as linebackers. What are you doing here, Chad? I don't know, coach.
Yeah. But you don't want to say it again next week.
Right.
So now you're on it. I'm going to clean that up.
Right.
Cleaning that up.
Yeah.
I think it's a school teacher in me. It's like, okay, we're all going to write it down. We're all going to write down our mistakes and we're going to talk about them. We're going to clean it up.
And he who gets the highest percentage of mistakes correct, gets a gold star?
Probably. They might even get Chick-fil-A for lunch. Kind of depends. I'm that kind of teacher.
All right. Then we got another comment up on here on the text line. Okay, from 5Y5 God? 5 yard 5 God, I guess. I can't see that far, so I don't have my glasses. This is not starting to feel a little Tim Tebow-ish.
Oh.
Okay, we got a Tim Tebow comment last week as well.
Okay.
But I would say the Eagles' fourth quarter and this fourth quarter,
Okay.
the general level of ineptitude, to steal an earlier commenter's phrase,
Uh-huh.
and then the fourth quarter, get it all together. Yeah, it does feel Tim Tebow.
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
But as we saw, that Tim Tebow-ness, the Tim Tebow-ishness, was not a formula for playoff success.
It's not sustainable.
No, it's not. And so, you take the win, you don't apologize, but yeah, you've got to find a way to play smarter, play better, play more consistent, play cleaner, all the things, and not rely on fourth quarter heroics, not rely on the opposing kicker missed 2 extra points. I mean, generally the NFL kickers are at the end of the season 99% on extra points.
Right.
Even though they've moved it back a couple of years ago, those guys are still incredibly accurate. So you can't count on that Tim Tebow-ness of everything to fall perfectly like it's an Ocean 11's movie, to get a win.
All right. We haven't talked about the deflected passes.
Oh, look at you.
That's a big one. That's a problem because they're all coming and they're looking to deflect. What do you think? What do we got to do about that?
Okay, well, one of the principals here at Guerilla Media,
Okay,
Shelby Harris, former Bronco.
Nice.
He's a guy who has mastered the art of that.
Okay.
And certain defensive linemen are incredibly good at that.
Okay.
But others need to be prompted during the week.
Okay.
Hey, this guy is going to throw low balls.
Okay.
If you get stopped on the pass rush, just keep your eyes on the quarterback's eyes and get your hands up.
Hands up.
So we saw that so many times today that the Giants defenders were able to deflect the pass at the line of scrimmage or a bit after the line of scrimmage because Bo tends to throw a low pass. And so there's some solutions to this.
Okay.
And again, I'm sorry, Bronco country. I got to go with more Patriot lore and more Patriot stuff here. When we played a team that was good at deflecting passes or had very tall defensive linemen, we played the Jacksonville Jaguars in a playoff game. Okay. In year 13 for us.
Oof.
When we were in New England.
We were just young bucks.
And so they had 2 6'7", I think 1 6'7", 1 6'8" defensive tackles.
Okay.
And so on the practice team that week, Coach Belichick gave the defensive tackles racquetball rackets.
I love it.
So that was their job, was to kind of rush the quarterback for a couple of steps and then put that racquetball racket in the air.
Wow.
To give Tom Brady a idea of where his passes needed to be so they wouldn't be tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Okay, we should send some notebooks, some red markers, and some rackets. Okay, keep going. This is so good.
So it can be addressed.
Okay.
You can do some things to train your quarterback to throw a higher ball, to have a higher release point, to think about that.
Think tall.
Well, sometimes you don't necessarily want to throw over those guys.
It's too long.
You want to throw between them. So you want to have a visual of where he's at and be able to throw between the 2 defensive tackles, between the defensive tackle and defensive end. But there's also something about your eyes. If you're a quarterback, obviously the defense is going to be looking at your eyes. So if you can look over there to get everybody to think you're throwing over there, knowing full in your mind, I want to throw over here. Well, not only is that going to move the safety and give your receiver, Cortland Sutton, on an in-breaking route more opportunity and space to make a catch.
Okay.
The defensive linemen are also going to be thrown off because you're looking over here. Now that guy over there is going to get his hands up.
Okay.
Not the guy where you intend to throw.
Nice.
So this is maybe this is a quarterback, like a 400 level class that Bo Nix has got to get to before he can begin, because a young quarterback can affect the safety with his eyes.
Okay.
A very experienced quarterback can affect the defensive lineman with his eyes and get the wrong guy to put his hands up.
Okay.
So I don't think Bo Nix is quite there yet.
Okay.
Particularly with the way he struggled in the first 3 quarters of this game. I think he was just trying to get a first down.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I just complete a pass down the field?
Fair.
Can we get something going?
Fair.
And so the batted passes was probably much lower on his list of worries and concerns, but it happened a number of times today.
Yeah.
So now for the next,
I think it was like 5 or 6 of them.
I think so.
Yeah.
So for the next you typically, as a team, you watch the last 4 games of your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So the next 4 weeks of opponents will watch this Giants tape,
Mm-hmm.
and they will all see the effect that the defensive line had on Bo Nix throwing the football.
Wow.
And the ability to back passes down.
Yeah.
So he's got an opportunity to fix this and get this off of tape,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't trail him all season long.
Mm-hmm.
As a running back, if you fumble, you got to fix it, because everybody's going to watch tape and go, that dude fumbles.
Yep.
So the Cowboys come on next week. Their defensive line coach is going to be like, look, we can back passes down. He's going to be repeating that to his guys all week. They're going to work on it all week long.
All right, Bronco country. You know what we got to do? We got to tweet out rackets at practice. Racket practice. We got to do something. We got to get ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So a little reset here. Guerilla Media, Postgame Broncos Live. This is Kristin Brown. I'm Chad Brown. We are awaiting BK from the Broncos locker room, or he'll be probably from the field by the time we get to him, but he's spending time in the Broncos locker room catching up on all the quotes and comments from Bronco players. And if I know BK like I think I know him, he also spent some time with those Super Bowl 50 winners as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he'll have some comments from those folks to relay to us once he gets out of that locker room. So we're trying to continue to chop up this crazy Bronco win. This fourth quarter epic comeback, 33 points scored in the fourth quarter, 0 points scored in the first 3 quarters. What's this comment we got here? During Sean's postgame, he said, I don't want to hear about faster play. I understand it's used 2-minute warning, or if not quite a bit towards the end of the game, but it can be used like early in a game. Throw defense off, though every game they start so slow. Are you still into reptile collection? Sorry for the essay. All right. So I think the question is Sean Payton doing enough tempo, or is he starting the game so slow for Scott? Did you quite piece all that together?
Oh, if I only had my younger eyes. I'm trying to read this.
Can we get that comment posted back up, guys?
Okay, there we go. Nice and big.
During Sean Payton's postgame, he said, I don't want to hear about faster play. Okay. Yeah, so without some more context on Sean's comment, it's hard for me to know exactly what he was talking about. But we do start so slow. And so to go with some tempo to start the game, we see college teams do this all the time.
Yeah.
And some NFL teams go with tempo.
You kind of set the tone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity to get the defense on their heels. Early in the game, they're not quite ready for all that tempo. They're looking to slowly start into a game. So you can adjust that and start to go with some tempo. I think it'll be wise with the way the offense has underperformed the last couple of weeks. I think everything's got to be on the table.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then specifically to...
We have some highlights ready for you with Peyton. So perfect timing.
Wonderful.
Perfect timing.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, we're going to come up with some highlights here. But right before we do, to answer your last question that you snuck in there, Scott, I still have a small reptile collection. I had a fire a little bit more than 10 12 years ago and lost thousands of reptiles in that fire. So I've got a small collection that I've got a few animals left that I personally care for, but most of the animals that I own have been sent out to other people. Life is so busy now, it's hard for me to take care of a large collection. So I've been giving those to responsible keepers, and some of these rare animals that I've got, particularly this year, the Halmahera scrub python, which I was on a trip to Indonesia where we discovered that species of python for Western science. I gave them to a friend in Illinois. He had the first captive breeding outside of a zoo here in the U.S. this last year. So my reptile collection is still reproducing babies and doing some pretty cool things.
Nice.
Yes. All right. So I guess we got some clips. So I'll let you guys run it. I guess we'll comment after we see the clip.
For at least 2/3 of the game offensively. They hit some big plays on us defensively. I was proud we fought to get back in it. It's like we had to find a way to clean up our mess. So I told them, look, enjoy this. There's some grit there. They didn't quit, but it's important we don't let the euphoria of a win like that cloud the things that need to get cleaned up tomorrow. So they'll enjoy it tonight, but there are a lot of things that we're still doing, particularly offensively, that trouble me, and we'll get it fixed. We have to get it fixed.
It went from 4th and 19 to them being on the doorstep so fast.
Yeah,
On the final possession,
listen,
what did you?
I can't criticize the officials, but I can disagree with them. I can disagree with Pat Surtain being offsides. I can disagree with, now, 4th and 18, that's one of tomorrow's deals. Like, we have to learn, we have to learn from that. Because either way, two things happen. The first down's gained by the completion, or let's say it's incomplete, the first down's gained by the roughing. So that's one of the corrections and one of the things that will be important to address tomorrow.
Sean, going back to the Cortland play, how rare is that you do put in a play? Like,
Listen, there's, I hate that term, the hay's in the barn. It's never in the barn. Like, you're constantly looking for things. I think it happens a lot on Saturday, but this was a specific look. We had seen two teams this year, New Orleans and Kansas City, have plays with 7 or 6 seconds left at the end of the second quarter, like no timeouts. Now, that situation was a little different, and yet we had no timeouts. And it was going to be hard to get an outside matchup, but we put Sutton inside. We shifted him across, got an inside matchup, and then, put Troy on a needle and still got the ball we wanted to Cortland from a different position. So, look, it was the perfect back shoulder throw, good catch, and put us in that yardage we needed.
Yeah, Sean, Bo's fourth quarter Super Bowl 50 team here. I mean, that's an all-timer right there.
I think I said to these guys prior to the game, I said, man, you're playing for, and I said the Super Bowl 50 team is important. I said, but there's also a player going into the Ring of Fame who his family's here. Cortland, you played with him. You're playing for all these alumni that are back. We said it yesterday, and I'll say it again now. They're the lifeblood of the program. Both Kerry and Greg have done a fantastic job of making that point of emphasis. Man, anytime you're back, you're welcome. I love having them at practice. I remember the names. I talk smack with Talib over the years, different teams, you name it. I could go through all the players. And to see him, when you do something like that, you walk together forever. And so, and look, I was their biggest fan. I'm sitting there doing the game for CBS, and the last thing you want is someone from your division winning a Super Bowl. And, so Carolina was their opponent. And, to watch Atlanta not win one and Carolina not win one was pretty special. But I worked that game, and the defense was outstanding. I was there in Dallas when we drafted Demaryius. There's just so many relationships, but that team will have that forever. So I'm glad we were able to get the win.
Wow.
All right, Sean Payton talking about the Super Bowl 50 team, his connection in relation to some of those guys.
Yeah,
talking about the team, playing for some of those guys. These are the shoulders that you stand on, kind of thing. And then also playing for DT, a former teammate of Cortland Sutton's. So those kind of connections and ties are, I think, always beautiful. This, as a professional, you want to go out and win every single game.
yeah.
And we always say this ridiculous line. I approach them all the same. But others mean more to you. And it could be of various different reasons. You could be playing against your old team. It could be, my folks are here. For us, it was our daughter's first game.
You balled out. You balled out for that game. Amani Fife. She was brown, of course, then, but you balled out.
Yes. So there's all these various reasons where you can find a way to pull a little bit more out of yourself.
Yeah.
So it's nice that Sean Payton addressed all that. With the first clip, though, he did address his message to this team. And it's pretty similar to what we talked about based off the comment on the text line there, that, yeah, enjoy it. Don't apologize for a win. Be happy with it. But to Sean's point, I think he said, don't get caught up in the euphoria so much that you miss all this work we got to get done this week because there's so much to clean up.
Well, immediately I thought of Christmas, right? Like it's a gift. Christmas came early. That's all. How could that possibly all go down again? So, you might tell your kids when they're little, you got to be good. You want presents, all the things. They get presents anyway. You got a present, but you can't just be looking for that present every week. So I think what they can celebrate here was how they did not tank out. They did not start to get down on themselves. They fought to the end, and then in the end, they fought well. So to know that they can come back and win is great, but to realize it's not going to keep happening this way. I mean, said no one ever. That how many yards did we give up in penalties?
127.
Yeah, those are supposed to be your rushing yards. So this, yeah, you can't have euphoria around that. You can have thank yous, right? And whew,
I think you celebrate the win. I think you do. And again, you feel good about what we were able to accomplish. And we had enough resilience. We had enough backbone, enough character when it mattered most. We had enough finding a way to get it done within us to get this done. But yes, tomorrow's film session, for 3/4 of that film session, just like 3/4 of this game, should be no fun. And
it's good they get to end on a high note.
As a player, sometimes when coaches want to criticize you and you still get the win, you're like, whatever, man, we won. But in this one, because it was so improbable, because it all happened so late, I think you get the best of both worlds. You get the win, but it was so bad for so much of the game, you can't, as a player, shrug your shoulders and be like, coach is tripping. We won.
Right.
No, coach is not tripping.
Right.
Y'all got a lot to fix.
Right.
Coach is not being an ass, or coach is not being a stickler. Y'all got a lot to fix. Yeah. You can't just shrug your shoulders at the first 3/4 of a football game and think you can repeat that and continue to win. So yes, all that's we're still winning kind of stuff, that has to go out the window. It's got to be a harsh film session, a harsh look in the mirror, because you can't fix the problems until you know what they are.
Amen on that.
You can't address the issue until we've identified what the issue is. Yeah. And so maybe it is time for Sean Payton to pass out some loose leaf paper and some pencils and say, all right, write down all your mistakes.
Yes.
Tell me all those plays you want back. Tell me all those things you want to do better. Write it down, give them to your position coach. He'll read them. He'll give them to me. I'll read them. I want to see how dialed in we are. With knowing what our responsibilities are, knowing what the standards are around here, knowing what the expectations are.
Well, what's the standard?
Yes.
The standard's the standard.
Right. So if you guys expect to continue with football games, obviously that effort from yesterday is not going to be enough. And I need you guys to know that I need to know that you know what you did wrong. I need to know that you know where your mistakes were. Yeah. I need to know, and we as a coaching staff need to know what you don't know so we can get that into your head and separate the difference between you screwing something up and you not knowing. Those are two different things.
So do coaches take accountability for, bad calls or perhaps running onto the field?
The best ones do.
Okay.
The best ones do.
Okay.
I know Sean thinks very highly of himself as a coach. So I'm curious as to how much of that accountability is he willing to take?
Because is that what he was addressing when he was talking about, I can disagree with the ref?
Yeah.
I mean, I can disagree with the ref. A lot of us can disagree with the ref, but can we go on the field?
No, you can't go on the field, man.
Right. Because as a leader, how does that teach discipline?
Right. And this team is undisciplined.
This is a thing.
And Sean Payton is in those 12 penalties. And there's actually more, but the Giants declined some. So there was actually more penalties committed than just the 12. So Sean Payton is in that 12 penalties.
Right.
And he only
birds of a feather.
He only hurt the football team 1 yard because the pass interference from Riley Moss put him at the 2-yard line.
Right.
So they can only go half the distance to the goal.
Right.
So he got away with one
Yeah.
kind of there.
Yeah.
But that if the situation had been different, he could have really hurt this football team in a far worse way.
Right.
So did he calculate all that before he went on the field? I don't think he did.
No.
So yeah, Sean, some of this cleaning up's got to come from you. Some of this writing on a piece of paper what we did wrong has got to come from you.
Yeah.
Some of this, humility needs to come from you as well.
I think it's a beautiful thing if they take.
All right,
Oh,
sweet.
perfect.
All right.
BK's coming.
BK in about 5 minutes, so we'll continue to do it. What do we call this that we're doing here?
We are talking football. It's what we do.
Is that what we do?
talk so much football. If anyone wants just to know, we literally talk a lot of
Okay,
football.
all right.
We
So
talk a lot of football.
I'll give you a brief funny story here. So we go to places in town, restaurants and parties, and get invited to do things. But for whatever reason, people tend to be intimidated by me. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what that is about me.
I don't know.
I'm a nice dude, soft-spoken, all the things.
Yeah.
So they have all these urgent football questions that they can't ask me because they're too intimidated. So what do? They get Kristin Brown in the corner,
Mm-hmm.
and she is stuck in the corner
Post it up.
answering football questions for
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Or texting during the game. Well, what does Chad think? I'm like, okay, here's his contact. I'm trying to watch the game, people. We talk football. That's
Yeah,
what
we talk
do.
football all the time. So this is what we're going to do that for a few more minutes until BK gets himself situated out there on the field and gets ready for us. And we'll get a chance to hear his thoughts on the game, get a chance to hear what he thought of some of the comments from Sean Payton and some of the leaders in the Broncos locker room. Oh, another comment from Amani Fife. Hello, daughter. Sean said, I can't criticize officials, but I can disagree with them. Our question is, should officials let the end of games play out? If PI penalties are super close like that, it can feel like a game-altering penalty. I don't think penalties should be called differently depending on the situation in the game. I don't. If it's a penalty, it should be a penalty.
Yeah, you know how I feel about that.
So I know there is a tendency in basketball where refs like to swallow their whistles late. I know there's a certain expectation for fans in football games and overtime and last 2 minutes of a game for refs to let them play. No, just call the game. Just call the game. I just want you to be consistent.
Yes.
If it's a penalty in this situation, it should be a penalty in that situation. First quarter, fourth quarter, third quarter, overtime, it should be a penalty. That's my personal take on it. So, yeah, I don't think there should be any kind of conversation from the league to the officials about somehow sliding the penalty ratio or quotient down. Oh, we're in the fourth quarter. Let's bring it down to 7.5%. So the last 2 minutes of the game, we'll bring it down to a 5. No, I think it should be called fairly and the same and consistently all game long.
100%. You know how I feel about anything tainted. And if your win seems tainted, that's all you hear. They won, but they didn't get this, they didn't get that. They were soft on the calls. Just win it.
And to go back to that specific play, Riley Moss has got to know the situation on the field. They're throwing a deep ball. Why are you throwing a deep ball, Kristin Brown?
Because they're trying to draw the flag. Hello. What would you do?
Right.
You're desperate.
So, yes, when a team is desperate and they throw a deep ball, a lot of times it's not necessarily to complete the deep ball. It's to draw the flag.
That's what I would do.
And they are counting on you, Riley Moss, to be panicked in that situation and to grab and hold and make contact, or to not be aware of where the ball is and run into the receiver as he's trying to come back for the football. So I can see where you're coming from, Amani Fife, maybe Julian Fife, with that question of, was it a questionable call? I didn't see it as a questionable call, but I can see where you guys are coming from. That it's within the realm of discussion here. But for Riley Moss, he's got a very difficult job. He's a cornerback opposite of Pat Surtain. He's going to be targeted. In those situations that are critical, he's definitely going to be targeted. So he's got to have a way of understanding the situation on the field and what the opponent is trying to achieve. Yes, we love to catch this ball, but more than likely, we're hoping you'll panic and do something dumb. Riley Moss did something dumb, gets the outcome that they wanted.
So ideally, you just want to go for the ball. You're a receiver at that point. You want to bat down the ball. You want to block the pass, but you cannot panic. because that's what they're hoping you'll do. Or they want you to jump off sides. Okay, you didn't jump off sides. This is our plan.
Right.
We want a flag
Yes.
right now.
They
First
wanna-
down.
They want to bait you into getting a flag. So as a defensive back in that situation, you want to be in phase.
Mhm.
So what that means is when you're running, I'm running. When you stop, I stop.
When you
come
move,
back,
I move.
yeah, I come back. So we want to
Mhm.
be in phase.
Mhm.
So what happened to Riley Moss is the receiver went to slow down and try to come back for that underthrown ball.
Mhm.
He was no longer in phase with the
Mm.
receiver.
Okay.
That's when he ends up running into that guy, committing the penalty.
Mm.
So learning lesson for Riley Moss.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's taken a number of these lessons that he's learned early this year
Mhm.
and can be better for them during the season. Because again, you're going to make mistakes. We
Yeah.
don't want you to be a mistake repeater.
And to make mistakes, as many as they made today and still win, the gift of that, of course, I'm always
Christmas.
looking for my
Yes.
my silver linings and all the things, is just more things to get cleaned up, because this, it's not sustainable.
Mhm.
And we're doing really well, but there's a lot of football left to play. And you think about, if we played a clean game, how many points could we have had today? What kind of dominant victory could we have showed up with?
We should have had. Yeah. And
Yeah.
as we were coming in to the game, we also heard Dave Logan talk about that and some of these errors for this Broncos team and how spotting the Giants that touchdown, which
Mhm.
turned in, gave the Giants 26 points,
Mhm.
how massive that play was, that
Mhm.
turnaround there. So, yeah, your ability to be the cleaner playing football team is super important. So, upcoming for the Broncos, I know they got the Cowboys next week.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think who they have after that. My phone is not giving me what I want here.
How are the Cowboys doing this year?
Cowboys won today.
Okay.
Cowboys had a big win today. So the Cowboys offense, we've known the Cowboys offense is legit. Dak Prescott is playing some of the best quarterback of his career. Cowboys defense, on the other hand, as good as the Cowboys offense is, Cowboys defense has been worse.
Okay.
So the Cowboys have been averaging 30 plus points a game offensively.
Okay.
Their defense gives up 30 plus points a game.
Okay.
So that's kind of where their record has been. It's been a result of that poor defense, but they won big today. And I'm trying to get some scores going on my phone here. Apologize for me looking down on my phone this whole time.
No worries. So I'm wondering also, like, can Bo do the shield thing so people can't read his eyes? Because I'm thinking if your defense isn't good, you're all about batting his balls down, deflecting all the things.
He would have to get a note from a doctor to get the
Ooh.
shield.
Okay.
I'm sure there'd be a team doctor who'd be more than willing to get that note to the league.
But that's stigmatism. That's stigmatism, right?
if
We gotta
they
get
thought
a shield.
that a shield would help prevent people from knowing where Bo's eyes are going. Okay. All right.
Because we had that 2nd and 8,
Mhm.
and then we ended up losing yards when he was running to the side, but he was looking to the left,
Right.
and he never saw the defender coming,
Yeah.
and he had to tuck in.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, well, I guess that's not so much where his eyes were, but not understanding where everyone was.
He didn't see that on Russia.
Yeah.
Coming. So the Cowboys
Okay.
beat the Commanders today, 44-22.
Wow.
So that's the
Okay.
Broncos' next opponent.
44.
44. And so I know Jaden Daniels, the Commanders quarterback, left, and they went with their backup quarterback. So that could
Okay.
have been one of the reasons why the Commanders didn't put up very many points there.
Okay. Could be inflated, right?
But at the same time, this Cowboys offense can score.
Okay.
So the Jets last week were very offensively deficient.
Hmm. They did
Um,
better this week too.
Yeah, the Giants not
Mhm.
exactly lighting them up offensively. Jackson Darden, Cam Scatterboo have been a good story, but they haven't scored a ton of points.
Hmm.
This Cowboys team can come in and score a lot of points. So the
Okay.
margin for error has gone down or gone up. No, the margin for error has gone down. The difficulty has gone up.
Okay.
Let me get my analogies right there for this game coming up with the Cowboys next week.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So let me see. After the Cowboys, come on, phone. There we go. Then we got the Texans,
Texans. Okay.
and the Texans finally got their offense going. And the
Okay.
Texans are probably as good of a defense
Okay.
as the Broncos are. Not same number of sacks,
Okay.
but they play a really good brand of defense.
Okay.
So that's not going to be an easy one either. The next easy one is going to be the Raiders.
Oh, bless the Raiders.
Coming up after the Texans game.
Okay. The Raiders are
The
struggling.
Raiders are in a
They're
bad
struggling.
spot. So, and then after that's the Chiefs.
Oh,
So
okay.
the Broncos will have 10 days between that Raiders game. It's going to be a Thursday night game
Okay.
before they play the Chiefs.
But okay.
So they've had a difficult run here. They had to go to the East Coast and play the Eagles.
Mhm.
They had to go overseas to play London.
Mhm.
They came back and did this trip. Instead of having the bye, Sean Payton wanted to play a game this
Mhm.
week.
Mhm.
And maybe that's one of the reasons why they started so slow. It had a bit of
Ah.
a hangover from all that
Okay.
travel and time zone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So to squeak out a win and find a way to get done after that difficult schedule. And now coming up again, the Cowboys next week, the Texans after that, Raiders, and then the Chiefs.
Ooh.
So the Chiefs had Chiefs won today, and the Chiefs are moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so the
But we can beat
Chargers,
those Chiefs.
after having a commanding lead in the AFC West,
Uh-huh.
they've kind of fallen back to earth a bit. Got
Okay.
beat by the Colts today.
Okay.
So this AFC West race is now a 3-team race.
Okay.
Raiders have no shot.
Right.
Chargers are declining.
Okay.
Broncos are trying to figure things out. And
Okay.
the Chiefs are playing their best football of the season.
Ooh.
So 3 teams in 3 different spots,
Okay.
all fighting for this AFC West division.
Wow. Well, I'm excited because you know how I get excited. I get fired up, all the things.
All right, I'm sure. Oh, then we got BK coming up from the field. Brandon Cristal.
Have it your way, BK.
How about that? Let's see it. Let's get it. There we go. Perfect. Lights out.
Yeah.
Look, they knocked out the bigger lights. That's how long this post game kind of took. It was 50 minutes. Our pal Aaron Anderson from Fox 31 locker room had closed. Sean went a little long, not as long as in London. And then Will Lutz came in right away because he's kicker, so he's ready to go. And then go into the locker room. Locker room closes, and Aaron says it's been 50 minutes since the game ended, and Bo and Cortland hadn't even come in yet. So
Wow.
you understand Club Dub was going to be a little bit bigger, last a little longer. When you have one of the craziest comebacks in the history of football, it's certainly going to warrant a little bit bigger celebration. But as we heard Sean Payton say, they've got plenty to clean up. And so to enjoy it tonight, but you know what? You know who's really going to enjoy it? Hey, look who it is.
Definitely going to enjoy it.
So I had a Chad Brown.
What's up, Champ?
Look who this is. Hall of Famer Champ Bailey. Hey, so Jim Sacamano was there, and he said this is the craziest fourth quarter he's ever seen. You've played and seen a lot of football, and you're a professional analyst now. Where does this rank for you?
This is number one. I mean, 33 points. Never seen
In
anything
one
like
quarter?
it. Like it. And it's the timing. DT, all the guys here. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better ending.
Well, and look, I know you were working yesterday in Atlanta, but there was no way you were missing this, right? Because
No.
I know what DT meant to you, meant to obviously so many people around.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think it goes without saying that, he was special to a lot of us. But to be able to come here and witness this win, I mean, none of these guys are really connected to him that are on this team, but I think they felt that presence. Cortland, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, but they felt that. Garrett, of course. There's some guys, but and holistically, it's all the guys that were sitting in the stands, and I think they felt that energy.
And look, you were part of a team that was the most prolific offense of all time, and then obviously you retired. But I know we're pulling for them 2 years later when they win it all. Does this team remind you of that in one way or the other? I mean, certainly the way the defense had been getting after was a bit of an down day. Do you see some of those trades? Elo's team that went to Super Bowl 8 and the Super Bowl 50?
Well, I think it's the resilience. 1 year or the next. It's really what this franchise has been for 3 or 4 decades, and franchise things like this is not a surprise. It's just how we do it and how we do it as a collective unit. I mean, it means everything.
Well, it means everything that you would crash my chat here with Chad and Kristin Brown, and I know
We're
that
happy.
your wife
I
Jess is
crashed
excited.
it.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
well, but then also look, I know how much it means to have your name up there in the Ring of Fame.
Yeah.
But to see DT next to Peyton and know what he meant for this city,
Yeah.
I'm sure you have stories of DT and your kids, because I certainly do. My 19-year-old, this is the only game that he's wanted to go to in 2 years because he wanted to be here for DT's game. Do you have a story or two? I mean, without specific, but I imagine there were times with your kids.
I won't reveal much, but you got to think, like, DT grew up in South Georgia, so did I. He went to a school in Georgia, so did I. And so we always had that connection. And when he came here, he just wanted to learn. He was the humble kid. I mean, even to the day I left, he was just that kid that just wanted to learn about how to be a pro, you know, how to really just, you know, give back, everything about what it means to be a professional player. And I appreciated that from him because he didn't act like he knew everything, which a lot of young guys do. And DT was, I mean, he was special. And you know, to me, it's even to the day that, you know, he left this earth, you know, he was still reaching out to me. And I appreciated him for that because I learned a lot from him as well. I mean, he reignited my career. I tell people that all the time. Like, he came in at a point where, you know, I was considering what the hell was next for me.
Right.
And he reignited my career because he showed me that I had a lot of more purpose. And, you know, I appreciate him for that. And, you know, he's my guy, man. And, you know, I appreciate everything he done for me and my family and the way I feel about people a lot. That's what it's all about.
I've told you this before, but of all the people I've covered, it's my 20th season covering the Broncos.
Yeah.
You're number one on the
Getting
list.
old, buddy.
I know we both are. I mean, I got you by 3 months. But you're number one, and DT is right up there, right behind you with guys like Chris Harris and Shelby Harris. But DT had a special place because he wasn't always great on the phone. But if you FaceTime him, it's usually my son FaceTiming him.
It's all about
time.
It's all about getting his physical face right in front of you where he saw you and you could see him. Importantly, I mean, that's who he was.
And you got to think that he was looking down, smiling at this game, and had something to do with the outcome.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he sprinkled a little something on this, and you know, I appreciate him for that.
Well, and I appreciate you stopping by, Champ.
No doubt, man.
Always great seeing you.
My bad.
No, there's no my bad. Champ's a big Guerilla Sports observer. See you guys. Great seeing you. And we got a future Colorado Buff right here, Chad. The first offer that, well, maybe Georgia Bulldogs. Although I don't know, Ole Miss maybe, or Jayhawks. We got a lot of choices. I text Champ a lot during Big 12 games because he works for Turner Sports and they carry TNT has the Big 12. And so I'll text him about my Jayhawks. We know that his son, who's a freshman's right over, and Coach Prime already offered him a scholarship. They were back for the big pro day for the showcase. And then, of course, Champ has pretty strong ties to Georgia, and I was joking because Ole Miss obviously beat the Bulldogs yesterday. Right. But we should get back to this game still. It's always nice when a Hall of Famer, also a Georgia boy, comes and crashes our post game. We haven't had one of those yet this year.
Love it.
Love it. I love hearing that DT talk from Champ.
Yes.
You know, obviously here in town, folks love and revere DT for more than just what he did on the field. He was just a warm guy, great to know. But as a football player, I think it's unfortunate that he is underrated outside of this market. Some of his numbers literally stack up with some of the all-time greats, and that should be known a bit more, just how impactful he was.
Well, the number that sticks out to me, and I know my connection's a little wonky, but the number that sticks out to me the most is I saw this stat yesterday and had forgotten it. Since 2010, when he was a first-round pick ahead of Tim Tebow, since 2010, when he came in, he is fourth in receiving yards since 2010 in the NFL, and obviously hasn't played a game since 2019. So to give you an idea of how prolific he was in the 10 seasons he played, to go 10 seasons and have that much production, and it still has him just fourth in a passing league, or not just fourth, sitting fourth since 2010. So in the last 15, 16 seasons, he's still fourth in terms of his production, just that number alone. But what he was able to do with Peyton Manning and those offenses, and even after Peyton retired, still being able to be productive. And he was productive for Tim Tebow the year before Peyton got here. And he was also, on top of everything else, such a willing participant in the run game or blocking downfield for his other pass catchers that you can't overlook that.
I love how Champ spoke about him just as a man. So, you know, not only what he did on the field, but how he showed up as a human, and a life that touches others is never forgotten. That goes on. That's beautiful.
You're absolutely right, Kristin. And that's why he's memorialized at the Boys and Girls Club in North Denver. He would play Santa there. He would play Santa in the locker room or Santa for the team, for the other players' kids. You know, he didn't have any kids of his own. And in some ways, he was just a big kid. He loved hanging out with kids. I got to be a part of covering and then attending as a parent his football camps when my kiddo was there. You know, I mentioned, you know, when he's he's 19. This is the one game he wanted to come to, but he's 9-10 years old, and DT's picking him up and slamming him down in press coverage, and every single person that has a story, especially people associated with the team, whether they were members of the media like myself, coaches, staff, teammates, it seems like at least every one of them has some sort of story about something Demaryius did for their kids, or some interaction he had with their kids, and that won't be forgotten. And you guys didn't catch it because it happened right before I came to talk to you, but Cortland Sutton's wearing his 88 Demaryius jersey and talked about the emotions that he felt coming in today. You know, that Broncos fans, like so many great fan bases, will acquire jerseys, and they'll, sometimes you've got to go from quarterback to quarterback. And there's probably some people have some Case Keenum and Paxton Lynch jerseys that they wish they hadn't bought, but they do have an 88 jersey that they may not wear every game because they're wearing a Bo Nix or a PS2 or a Nick Benito jersey. But today the 88 jerseys were everywhere, and I think that's a testament to the impact that Demaryius had in the community and to this fan base and to this organization. He's second behind Rod Smith in pretty much every receiving category. And just because of the way timing worked with where things were with quarterbacks and where the organization was personnel wise, he didn't get to play here as long as Rod did, or he easily would have surpassed those records. And I know Cortland's trying to catch him. I'm not sure if he will, but yeah, the field is true. Internet's being crappy. Hey, I'm back. Are y'all back?
All right, there you go. There you go. We got you. All right, so we talked about the legacy of DT. To move on to the next legacy topic, the Super Bowl 50 reunion. Talk about that. What was it like being around those guys? What was the vibe of that?
It was cool because you could tell that, and a bunch of them were back when DeMarcus Ware got honored a couple of years ago. He got his Ring of Excellence. He's not in the Ring of Fame because he didn't play 4 years. We understand these are arbitrary rules, and the Broncos could change it to be whatever they want. They could put Bo Nix in the Ring of Fame right now if they want, or PS2. But their rules are you got to play at least 4 years. That's why John Lynch is in, and DeMarcus, for his impact, still is not. But so when DeMarcus, he goes into the Cowboys Ring of Honor, but then he gets his Ring of Excellence here. And we've seen that with teams or with players that'll have had an impact at both places. But so a bunch of those guys were back a couple of years ago. And then, obviously I get to talk to Chris Harris every week, and that's great. And Ryan Harris is a big part of what we do at Guerilla Sports. These guys clearly had not seen each other, including the guys that were super close. Like talking with Chris on Friday when we were doing our Football Friday show, he said it'd been a minute since he had seen Darian Stewart, the safety. And Bradley Roby's like, well, I played with him in New Orleans. I'm like, yeah, that was 4 years ago. That was Sean Payton's last year coaching. That was how long ago? He's like, I guess I haven't seen Robe in a minute. He's like, I saw TJ at his golf tournament. But the point is, even guys who were extremely close, still, if you're not in the same city, you know how hard it is, Chad. Yeah. You had, I'm sure, some of your favorite teammates, whether it was in college or in the pros, that you were thick as thieves, and then you settle in different parts of the country. And even when you travel, your paths just don't cross as much as you'd like. And so to have 40 players from that team, and Peyton told us that Vaughn made a pretty funny video that they played last night at the dinner that they had to honor DT. And so not having, Vaughn, who was working today in a loss, and Brandon McManus, I don't know how that game ended with Arizona and Green Bay. Those guys weren't here, but it seemed like anyone else you could think of from that team was here. And so to get to see them, and so many of them came to the pillar unveiling early. It was an 11:30 ceremony, and there were thousands of fans around it, but there were 35 or 40 teammates, some that weren't even on that Super Bowl team, that just loved DT there. Oh, did the battery die on the camera? I think the battery died on the camera. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Watch this. This is the power of technology. Watch. And just like that, hang on. Here we go. I'm back on this camera. Look at that. See?
Look at you.
Hey. So it just speaks to his impact and what he meant, but what it meant for these guys to be together. Y'all can keep walking. It's fine. This is pretty loose. Our friends from Fox 31. I just shouted Arn out, but there goes Amanda and Mick Miller. But it was cool to see them back and to relive some of those moments. We didn't get to spend that much time with a lot of them. Obviously, I got to hang out with Chris on Friday and saw some of his teammates when I grabbed him at the hotel and dropped him back off, and saw a couple more guys today. But you could tell that they had so much fun being around each other. And CJ Anderson's another one. I talked to him. I think we have his video up at Guerilla Sports, or we will on our socials. He has not been back since 2018, the day he got cut. And he ended up playing with the Rams in the Super Bowl, so it worked out for him. But he's not been back to Denver in 7.5 years. And so, I asked him, would you get back here with any more frequency now? He's like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, I get so much love from Broncos country. And Chad, I'm sure, look, you were just back in Seattle for a big reunion.
Yeah.
I'm sure whenever you go to Pittsburgh, certainly when you're on campus in Boulder, there's a reason that, great players are so beloved because of what you did on the field. And the fans just want to reach out and thank you and be a part of your life. Or have you were such a big part of their life that they want to interact with you. And so to see these guys back, but interacting with each other for the first time in so long was awesome. And it is a credit to the Penners, the Walton Penner family ownership group, that they not only had the 40 members of the Super Bowl 50 team, all the Ring of Famers, and overall 170 former players. Anyone that played with DT, I think, got invited to come back and celebrate him this weekend.
Wow.
First class ownership. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
And for Bronco fans to know not every ownership group is that way and goes to those kind of links. So we are in good hands with the Walton Penner group. Great talking about DT, great talking about the Super Bowl 50, but I don't want to lose this bananas, drunk, high, crazy freaking football game. 0 points for 3 quarters, 33 points in the fourth quarter. We heard from Sean. We saw the clips from Sean. What were the guys like in the locker room? How were they wrapping their mind around this one?
So what's funny, and I wasn't in the locker room for the entirety because of when Will Lutz came in, but got in right as Benito and Cooper were talking, and they kind of did a joint media scrum. And understandably, back-to-back defensive players of the week, there's going to be some confidence. But the sense I got from those guys was, hey, it wasn't pretty. It was a crazy game. But because they expected to win and because of the fun back and forth, where they thought, Coop thought he was giving Jackson Dart some love by saying, hey, he's got some swag. That's exactly how he said things. Like, it went a different direction. So there was a confidence, but then, Sean continues to reiterate, and his team echoes it, that the debrief on Monday is more important than the next game. Getting all of this right is more important than getting ready, in this case, for a Cowboys team that obviously figured out some things on offense today with CeeDee Lamb back. But it was, hey, we know we're a better team than the Giants. And Sean even said that, and I'm sure y'all may have seen that where he said, we're going to play in bigger games. He says that a lot when they beat, in some ways, lesser teams. Now, admittedly, Jackson Dart has brought some juice to that organization, and Sean touched on that a couple times, but they're supposed to beat this Giants team, this version of the Giants. And so I think there was that, like, oh, it was crazy and I can't believe it unfolded like that, but that's what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to score 33 points, just not all in one quarter. And I think that's, the part that they need to figure out, like, what was working there that wasn't working early. Again, your first takeaway, in 4 games, they had gone 3 games without taking the ball away. The last time they had gone 4 games without doing it was all the way back in 2019. And so this is a team that, regardless of whether it's Vic Fangio or Ruggiero Rivera or now obviously Vance Joseph, their defense was getting their hands on the football one way or another, and they just hadn't been doing that. And so that Sternad interception was as big as really anything that I think helped catalyze that offense in the fourth quarter. But then for Bo Nix to come out and make the plays that he did after, really not making hardly any plays in the third quarter. I said that my 19-year-old here, he came with my wife, and they left right after the deflected touchdown for the Giants that made it, 26 at that point. And so, and I texted my wife, I'm like, are you even listening to this game? She's like, no, why? And I'm like, it is crazy when it was 26-23. She's like, I should leave more often. I was like, well, I just don't know if I'm going to get you tickets next time. But all that being said, to be here, and we've seen some crazy games here. We saw, a great AFC championship game here, a great Sunday night game in the snow here, the Tim Tebow game against the Steelers. We've seen some crazy games, but to see a fourth quarter where you're down 19-0, or even when it's 26-8 with, I think, 5 and change, and ESPN's, AI predictor says that they are 0.1% chance to win it. It's 99.9% in favor of the Giants to pull that out. Can this catalyze them? You asked about the locker room. I think it can. Now, look, the Cowboys come out here and score 40. We know the Cowboys defense is not very good. But if the Cowboys score 40 and you score 39 next week, we're going to, in some ways, not necessarily forget about the Giants win, but say, hey, we might have seen this coming a little bit, that this team has some flaws. I guess I want to throw this at you, though, Chad. I'm curious. VJ certainly getting plenty of love for the 9-sack game and his defense. how much criticism does he deserve for what the Giants offense was able to do on some big plays? The deflection, I don't think really counts because you make a good play. I mean, look, you got to credit them for snagging it out of the air, but the defense was there. Does VJ take a step back? Because it feels like there's a chance Denver native Mike McDaniel may be out of a job tomorrow, and that's going to be one more opening after Tennessee opened. And so VJ's name's already in the mix. But how do you grade the defense who gave up 30 points, including, the PI that I didn't think was PI on Riley Moss to set up the first and goal when they went ahead late?
The defense, they had a number of guys who were offsides. That was an issue. So the penalties continue to be an issue. So there's a certain, on one hand, you could say undisciplined. On the other hand, you could say overly aggressive nature to this defense. And so you don't want your guys to play soft. You want them to play aggressively. But how do we play aggressively and smart? How do we play aggressively and clean? So they are still trying to find that line. And so to the Riley Moss play, to know the situation on the field, they're going to throw the ball up, hoping more for a PI than they are an actual catch there. So for you to know that situation. So some of that falls onto Vance. Some of that falls onto the culture that you've built. You got guys who want to get after the quarterback and get into the backfield. And in some ways, the Giants were able to take advantage of some of that. So I think VJ's got to find, okay, I've built this monster, but how do I control the monster?
Right.
How do I get the monster to do what I want it to do? So I think he's maybe at that point of the season where I know I got guys who can get after the quarterback, but now I need to get guys who can get after the quarterback without jumping off sides. I need guys who can get after the quarter, who can be aggressive, get into the backfield, or for Hufanga, who can come up and be a big hitter, but also know when there's something coming across my face, that's the cheese. They're trying to get you to bite the cheese, man. They're going to throw something behind you. So it's just those little small things where the aggressiveness is good, but you got to put your antenna up at the same time.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to pick a play to circle from the entire day that would be the most concerning, would be that very first touchdown, like you're talking about, for the tight end to get behind 44 yards early. And you're like, well, clearly it's a busted coverage, but why? Why are you letting, not his top target, not Wan'Dale Robinson, not Scatteraboo out of the backfield, get behind you there? It's pretty, I think that would be the most frustrating of anything. I remember Von Miller always saying, because he would get about, it felt like one neutral zone infraction a game, jumping a little early, and he'd say it was paying the tax. Problem is when you got guys like Coop and Benito and other guys, and now also, and that's the thing Sean talked about was he's really aggravated about the Surtain offside, and that was one of the things he wanted to address with the refs, but you can't do it on the half mark at the goal line. Again, that's where the refs are, and you got to go where the refs are. And we saw last week where Aaron Glenn was way too far on the field and did not get flagged. And so I don't know if Sean was just pushing. He's like, I just wanted them to hear me. But, we knew that flag was coming. I guess if you're going to get that flag, that's about the place to get it because the ball's already going to the 1 yard line anyway, 2 yard line anyway. So, but you can't preach discipline and then not have that discipline. I guess going back to the defense, they can, I think, maybe restore whatever might have been dinged today by taking it to Dak and the high-powered Dallas offense. We'll see how it shakes out. But if they hold them to, 3 scores or, 16, 18, 20 points and win a game 23-20 or 30-20, then you're going to, hear the praise for Vance and this defense that you heard up until this game.
Nice. Yeah. So it's interesting that you said he would dress up as Santa Claus, because when I started off this game, my thought was Christmas came early. Because when you think about, 147, 48 yards in penalties, I mean, that should be your rushing yards. And then, said no one ever that you still win this game in the final seconds. So amazing victory. Excited that they won. I'm hoping that they'll clean these things up. And I'm just curious, did Sean mention anything about taking ownership as a leader of going on the field? Like, does he want that moment back?
Yeah, he did. And he said, I can't do that there. It was kind of the end of the take when he's like, I wanted them to understand that he's like, you want to get your point across. But I think it tailed off with, but you can't do that. So there's at least a slight acknowledgement. He also said that he told Dayball or John Mara, he talked to John Mara. He said he wished that they would have made the quarterback switch after they played them, which of course is another shot at Russ, hoping to see Russell Wilson under center. And I had this thought, especially because on that game, the go-ahead drive where we know the Riley Moss penalty was obviously the biggest part of it. Also the 4th and 18 that they, I think, completed for the first down. I think it was close. It was a generous spot, but then the roughing the passer on JFM ends up making it a first down no matter what. That drive, I think Jackson Dart completed one pass. But I was in the press box and Drew Goodman was there, voice of the Rockies, and Jim Sacamano, the longtime PR guy. And I said, I turned and I was like, I think Jackson Dart only completed one pass on that drive, but this would have been the time I would have put Russell Wilson in, because that is when Russell thrives. Is end of the game, just give me a deep shot. Let's run around and Jackson Dart certainly has some of that gunslinger that Russ made his whole career on in so many ways, making plays out of the pocket and extending plays. Although that kid's got to learn to get down, or his career is going to end up getting shortened because he's a little too, I think, reckless with how he carries the football. But it's cool to see the Giants have a little juice. There were some Giants fans here, and as you know, so many folks from other parts of the world have migrated here, and there were some Giants fans that either flew out or live here, but they don't come very often, once every 8 years, and so they were feeling themselves early. And then I saw a picture of one Giants fan that clearly got in a fight with somebody who was bleeding down his face post game outside. So never want to see any violence, but not sure how it happened. Nonetheless, violence on the field is permitted, and ultimately the Broncos won that rock fight.
All right, I did see some Giants on my plane from Alabama this morning, and there were some Giant fans on the train when I was catching the train back home to Cherry Creek. Before we let you go, man, just kind of sum it all up. DT, the Super Bowl 50 honors, the most bananas win that I can remember, the most bananas fourth quarter that I can remember, 3 lead changes in a minute and 50 seconds at the end of that ball game. You got a minute to sum it all up, what it all was like out there today in Bronco land?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think the whole way is perfect for a weekend where you're celebrating, you're putting
Oh no.
back. Hey, I'm back.
There we
Okay,
go.
there
All
we
right.
You hear me? No, but other than they clearly they turned the Wi-Fi down, I guess, after the game. But other than that, to have so many alums back, perfect weather. That it could snow in October on the 19th. And a couple of years ago, I remember I was in Mexico for fall break, and it snowed on October 10th, and they played the Rams on October 12th. There was still snow everywhere. But no, perfect day, 75 degrees, and to have just. Because the Giants, yes, they're a big brand, but they don't travel the way the Cowboys or we're going to see a lot of Cowboys fans next week. It's just the way it goes. Just like we do with Packers. Certainly, every time you played a game on the road with the Steelers, Chad, you saw.
Yep.
Dang.
Oh no.
Well, it looks like BK's Wi-Fi is failing him once again. So we'll wrap it up from here. That was BK from the field, and what a great day for the Broncos organization to celebrate the life of Demaryius Thomas, to honor Super Bowl 50 and that championship brotherhood that they have.
It's really special.
It's really special. I've never gotten that Super Bowl brotherhood. I've got the national championship college brotherhood, high school championship brotherhood, but not the Super Bowl championship.
You took your Pop Warner kids to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did take Pop Warner teams to the Super Bowl as well.
Yes.
Yes. So I've won lots of places, just not the ultimate football prize. But the Broncos getting it done in the most amazing of fashions today. Again, to say you scored 33 points in a quarter is bananas. And to say the other 3 quarters of the game we didn't score any, yet you still found a way to win. Tip of the cap to their resilient nature. Lots to work on, as we talked about a number of times this podcast. Thanks for doing it again with me, Kristin.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Bronco Country.
Merry Christmas, Bronco Country. Christmas came early. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next
That's
week.
it for us.